we will continue with the next types of handling deadlocks. The other one is avoiding deadlock. Deadlock is avoided by the careful resource allocation techniques by the operating system. So here, the operating system will carefully allocate for which process the resources are required. So based on the requirement, need, priorities, it will carefully allocate the resources. It is similar to the traffic light mechanism at junctions to avoid the traffic jam. So you know that traffic lights in the traffic lights follow the same thing. So uh, the side which has got lot of traffic there, the duration will be less, and the road which has got less traffic, the duration will be more. It's somewhat like balancing to avoid a long waiting time. Now coming to the next is preventing deadlocks. So you're trying to prevent the deadlock condition by negating one of the four conditions favoring the deadlock situations. So we'll see what are those points. Let's see here. Ensure that a process does not hold any other resources when it requests a resource. So here we are ensuring that a process which wants a resource should not hold any resource. This can be achieved by implementing the following set of rules or guidelines in allocating resources to the processes. So let us see what are those rules. A process must request all its required resources and the resources should be allocated before the process begins its execution. Means before it starts the execution only, it has to request whatever the resources that are required by it, and it has to be allocated before it starts the execution. This is one way. Another one, grant resource allocation request from processes only if the processes does not hold a resource currently. So you should grant the resources to the processes if it does not hold any resource currently. So these two are the methods to prevent the deadlocks. So let us see the other type. Ensure that resource preemption is possible at the operating system level itself. So resource preemption means you are trying to release the resources at the operating system level. So operating system should take the lead role here. This can be achieved by implementing the following set of rules or guidelines. So let us see what are those rules. Release all the resources currently held by a process if a request made by the process for a newer resource is not able to fulfill immediately. So the process which has requested for any other resources, it has to release all the resources which it is currently holding when the operating system is not able to give the resources immediately. So that is a process A wants some resources and XYZ, and it has got other resources PQ. So it has to release PQ in order to get XYZ. Now, add the resources which are preempted to the resource list, describing the resources which the processes requires to complete its execution. Now, once the resources are preempted or released from the process, you add it, the operating system should add it to the resource list and give it to the process which very badly wants to complete its execution. Now, reschedule the process for execution only when the process gets its older resources and the newer resources which is requested by the process. Means a process is stuck, it wants some new resources. So, and the old resources is preempted. So don't start that process until and unless it gets back its older resources also and newer resources also, so that it can efficiently complete the execution. So these are the different guidelines to prevent the deadlocks. So we just let us summarize. So let us summarize the deadlock concepts. So we saw what is exactly deadlock, and we saw what are the conditions that are favoring deadlock. mutual exclusion, hold and wait, no resource preemption, circular repeat, all these are leading to the deadlocks. And then how we handled it, one is we ignored deadlock and other one we detected and recovered it. And um, we also avoided deadlocks and we prevented deadlocks with all these guidelines. So with all these things, we are trying to handle the deadlocks. So now let's go to the next type of task synchronization issues, that is livestock and starvation. So livestock condition is similar to the deadlock condition, except that a process in livestock condition changes its state with time. It is very much similar to the deadlock condition. Only thing, it will change its state with time. While in deadlock, a process enters in wait state for a resource and continues to be in that state forever without making any progress in the execution. So when once a process enters into a wait state for any resources, then it will be in that state only without making any progression in the execution. So in a lifelong condition, a process always do something but unable to make any progress in the execution state. In case of live law condition, process will change its state, but still it cannot complete its execution. So they have taken a better example in the real world example. So let me just take an example of a narrow road and two vehicles want to cross in the opposite direction. There is a narrow road. Two vehicles are faced opposite to each other. Now, how to go deadlock means both the vehicles have stopped their vehicles and they're not moving. That is deadlock. But in live lock condition, they're trying to see whether there is any possibility to move towards the corner of the ends and then move slowly. And this we see in every day. In our daily life also, we see how the bus drivers will carefully take the vehicles towards the left and they move carefully. Slowly they will try to move in the opposite directions. We have to think of that. Means the bus will, which are the two buses which are facing opposite to each other, will carefully, they will move to on the end, at the end. The opposite bus will move to the other end. The bus which is going forward will move to this end, left end and the right end, and then they will start moving slowly. Okay, live lock is such a situation wherein the process is trying to change the state. Means there is a movements. There is a movement, but unfortunately at some point of time they get stuck. Means still even with the movement they cannot proceed further. They cannot achieve success. So that state is called as live lock. The first state is both the buses knew they can't cross, they will stop. The second case, both the buses will try their level best to cross by doing some adjustments, moving to the other end. But somewhere they will come to one position that, yes, they cannot proceed further. And again, it will stop. Here also in live lock condition also, process cannot complete its execution. It gets stuck at some point of time, but it changes the states. Now let's go to the next category, that is starvation. So in the task synchronization issue context, starvation is a condition in which a process does not get the resources required to continue its execution for a long time. So starvation is, as usual, everybody knows, the processes which wants the resources very badly doesn't get it for a long time. It has to wait, go on waiting. As time progresses, the process starves a resource. So it badly wants a resource and it's waiting for a longer duration, still it won't get. And starvation may arise due to various conditions. It may also arise to various conditions like preventive measures of deadlock may also lead to starvation. Scheduling policies favoring high priority tasks means there are 3 tasks and task 1 has got the highest priority. So every time it requests for the resources, task 1 only will get the opportunity all the time. So task 3 may not get the opportunity at all. So task 3 is going for starvation. And the tasks with shortest execution time. So many a times even the operating systems will ignore because it is a short job. Let us keep it at the end. Let us keep it in, and it may be totally made to starve for the resources. So these are the conditions wherein the starvations may occur. So these are another task synchronization issues. Livestock and starvation, these two are also another type of task synchronization issues.